Well, folks, today we're going to be replacing the upper oil pan gasket on this 2008 Dodge Grand Caravan with the 3.8 liter V6. This is a very common problem with these. The upper oil pan gasket goes bad. We're going to also be replacing the silicone on the, well, not RTV, that is, on the lower oil pan. So let me show you what that looks like down there. So here we are down here, and some would say this is an oil leak. It's been leaking for a while. As you can see, everything is drenched, soaked, dripping, sticky, gross. I've already replaced the valve cover gaskets on this vehicle a while back. It was leaking out of those profusely as well, but the lower, you can see right in here where it's just seeping, and like once we get up top, like up here, it's like dry, or drier, I guess. It's not nearly as wet. See, it's just mostly dusty. This vehicle lives on a gravel road. So we're going to be replacing this. So we're going to start off by, of course, draining the oil. In my case, this is a 17 millimeter drain plug. I'm going to pull that out. We're going to drain all the oil. It's time for an oil change in this vehicle anyway. That's why I'm doing this. And then we're going to remove this oil pan. There's the 10 mil bolts for days. All of these are 10 mil. In this upper oil pan is all 10 mil as well. So we'll start by draining the oil, and then I'll get my impact and I'll zip all these 10 mil bolts off this bottom pan, and I'll show you what that looks like. And we're back. So I got all these bolts out. Just the first set of bolts in this lower pan, just that goes into this black pan. There's like 16 of them, I think. They're all 10 mil. Now this thing's got RTV on it, so it's gonna stay in place. So I'm going to use like a putty knife and start in a corner like this and like work my way around trying to peel that off of there. It shouldn't be too hard, but I'm going to go ahead and put this drain plug back in because this is just going to keep dripping for days. This oil is cold too. The vehicle is sitting overnight, so I'm going to put that plug back in, and I'm going to start prying this pan off, and I'll let you know how that goes. And as it turns out, it sucks buns. So trying to get this off here in this tight space. What I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna take this upper oil pan off because it's just a gasket, it's not RTV. So I'm gonna take this upper one off, all these bolts all the way around, and I'll try to drop the whole thing all at once, and then I'll separate the two on the bench. But before you do that, you got to take this bracket off of here, the bolts that go up into the oil pan. So there's one here, then there's one, well, there's three of them that I see that go in here, up, and then there's some that go in. One up there looks like a little 10 or 13 mil, and then you got these guys down here going that way, like this guy and that one. No, they're all the same. Probably, let me see. Yeah, they're 15 millimeter. Okay, so I got this loose in here. Real easy to get out. Well, real easy to take the bolts out anyway. They're not in there very tight. They're all 15 mil. But this thing is a little stuck. Can't get it out. This thing's in our way. So, you got a couple options here, I think. You can either loosen this up, preferably back there. Probably don't want to take it off up here because that's where the motor mount is. It's a big weight right there, which, by the way, that motor mount doesn't actually look that great. Looks kind of like poop. Anyway, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try to jack the motor up just a little bit because it looks like I just need like a ½ inch. So let me try that. Okay, so that worked. All I did was Let's get a block of wood on this lower oil pan here and jack the engine up while the car is still on jack stands, and was able to get this out of here. I can't video and do it at the same time, but man, this is nasty. We have to clean all this up. Anyway, look at that. There's your flex plate in your transmission. So now that we've got that out of the way, we can get to the last, what appears to be 2 bolts. This guy and this guy off that upper pan. So let's get that 10 mil back on that impact, and we'll go all the way around this whole thing and take out all of those other bolts, and this should come down all in one piece, and then we'll separate it on the bench rather than trying to do it down here. Let's do it. Okay, got all the bolts out. See if I can get this out of here with one hand. Oh no. Something's making it stuck. Looks like I'm stuck on the oil pickup tube. Hold on, let me... Oh! We got it. We got it. We got it. Okay. Ugh. Ugh. Here it is. So in theory, if you were doing this, you don't have to take this lower pan off, the one that's RTV'd. You could just do the upper one, but it's one of those things where, like I said, that thing sucks to take off while it's in the vehicle. So it'd be easier just to do it while it's on the bench here. And this is just one of those jobs where you may as well do it while you're in here. But man, look how disgusting this pan is. So I take it the gasket is still on the car. Let's go look at that. Alright, so we are dripping. We're dripping all over the place down here. Okay. So there we are. Man, I really have a poor light. There's all the goods inside the engine. Crankshaft, connecting rods, the rod cap. That's a bunch of cool looking stuff. Here's your dipstick. Here's the gasket though. Let's check this guy out. It's all sticky and probably so they've got a dab of silicone on the corners where the machine surfaces meet, looks like. Yep. Alright. Oh yeah, well, maybe more than a dab. They got a big booger of it right there. Come on. Ah. This thing is so stiff. It's not gaskety anymore. One more spot. Ah, man, I'm getting it all over the place. So this gasket is toast. We're just gonna throw that over there. Now, we gotta come down here and get all this goo and all this slime off of this surface. And look at that, they got some, I mean, this is ick, man. We gotta clean that to where it's squeaky clean all the way around this whole surface. Also, I feel like it's worth mentioning that the last 2, or at least 2 on this side, were not bolts, they were nuts. Those 2 there. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. But first, we're gonna go ahead and clean the parts on the bench, separate those 2. I'll get everything all cleaned up, ready to go. That's the most grueling part about this job, is the cleaning. So I'll do all that, and we'll come back to put this thing back together. Okay, let me show you where we're at here. I've cleaned this surface. You can see it's down. Missed a little spot right here. but I pretty much got it. Got the silicone out of the corners. Yeah, you can see that the machine surface where the machine cut it, the little wavy looking marks, but they're not. You can't. So yeah, got that all clean. It's not quite degreased yet, but it's all scraped off of there. I just used some Scotch-Brite pad. It comes off real easy. You can use some brake clean or some solvent of some kind. Get that all off of there. And then I cleaned my parts. Got this thing all cleaned up. I just cleaned it all in one piece, so it's all dry. So now I'm gonna go ahead and use this and go around here and scrape this lower pan off of here, so we can put some new RTV in there and reseal this to this. We may as well do it right here on the bench. I think it's going to be easier this way. Put this on here, and then we'll put this all up there in one piece just like we took it out. Okay, we're almost there. So I got this this surface here clean, this clean, all of the gasket material scraped off here. All I did was I get this little thing, this little putty knife, scrape it all off of there. It came off really easy. I cleaned my bolts up a little bit with a little toothbrush and some lacquer thinner. Lacquer thinner is going to be a lot of help on this job. You put that in your Scotch-Brite, and if you don't have one of those little fancy gasket remover tools, you need to get one of those. And that helps get all this gasket material off of here and here in the same way as that surface in the car. So we're going to go ahead and put a nice bead of this RTV. This is stuff I have on hand, left over from another job. So we're going to use this, and we're going to squish that down on there, and we're going to bolt this all together here, and then we're going to put it into the car all together rather than trying to do it down there. There's our bead of silicone. You don't want to go too crazy and get it gushed everywhere, but you want a nice little 1/8 inch bead at the most. Make sure you're on the inside of all the bolt holes on this. And I can't do this and record it at the same time, but I'm going to take this, I'm just going to push it straight down, straight on here, just line it up with the holes as best I can. Just get it close. Once it's sitting on there, we'll start our bolts. There we go, we got it sitting on there, lined up with the holes. You can see it starting to already kind of squish that goo. So we're gonna just start all these. Get them in a couple threads by hand, I think. Like that. Without pushing this around too much. Like so. We'll go around and do all that, and we'll slowly go around and tighten them all in circles, like snug it up a little bit, and then go back around. We'll keep doing that until they're all nice and snug. Okay, we're back underneath here. We got this all cleaned up, and we got our dabs of silicone right there. There's one there, and there's one. You gotta put a dab over there, which looks like there's already oil leaking out into that. That's fun. And then, yeah, there's a couple dabs over here where this meets. Oops. Right there. And over there. You'll see it. It's where the two pieces of metal meet. You'll have to clean it off, so you'll have to put it back. They provide these little plastic hangers, hang the gasket up there. We better hurry. We gotta get this pan. Now we're ready. Everything's all torqued down, tightened up. Ready to put our bracket back in here, but just like before. We're gonna have to lift this engine up a little bit, so we'll get our block of wood and our jack back under here, lift it up, so we can slip that in there, and we'll just bolt that back in. You don't have to. I mean, you can just clean the surfaces off a little bit, but you don't have to get too crazy. It's not a sealed surface, so you just get it all cleaned up a little bit and bolt that guy in there, and then we're pretty much done. We're ready to fill it up with oil, and we're gonna be done. There it is. It's all back in there. So just snug these all up. We're basically done. I just got to tighten that 17 mil drain plug. Like that. Take the oil filter off. Throw a new one on there. Let's see. Get my oil filter wrench here. Is it gonna make a mess or no? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, we just take this oil filter off. I'll throw the new one back on, fill it with oil, and we're done. That's it. Just gonna fill it up with oil, and we're done. Let me get a funnel. We're all filled up. That wasn't so bad. I'd say the worst part about this job was all the cleaning involved, all the scraping and the degreasing. It didn't help that this one was leaking really bad for a long time. So just everything was soaked with oil. Just everything was greasy, nasty, slimy. A lot of cleanup. So that's the majority of the work, but now it shouldn't leak anymore. We got valve cover gaskets, we've got upper and lowers done, so this thing should be ready to go. And on its merry way. Now, that's RTV. I don't think you're supposed to run the car right away after you put that on there. I think they're supposed to wait a couple of hours. I don't know. You'd have to read the instructions on the RTV tube that you have. Everything's a little bit different, but make sure that you don't just jump in it and take off down the road, and that heat just boils that uncured RTV. That RTV needs to have time to cure, so it's best to do this and have the vehicle sit overnight. Go ahead and do that, and you should be good to go. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.